What's up, everybody? It feels like a while since I've been on here, so happy Thanksgiving to anybody in Canada. Happy Columbus Day to anybody in the States. We are here with one half of the AEW Deadly Draw Tag Team Championships winners, current Shine Women's Champions. You can catch her on AEW Dark and AEW Dynamite. Ivelisse, how you doing today?
Good, good. How are you?
I am good. How are you staying busy on the Columbus Day today?
I'm still doing a lot of things in the house with the setup and the move after fire thing and everything. I'm still doing a lot more of that, but definitely in a really good direction. So,
That's awesome. Well, as long as it can only go up from here,
yeah, exactly. And
that's
that's
all you have
good.
to look forward to. So. Hopefully, there's a couple people in here that can brighten you up a little bit more today. We will. I know this gentleman right here. We'll go to Dan Smith first. What's up, Dan?
You're right there, Jacob. You're right, Ivelisse.
Hello.
Thank you ever so much for your time.
Thank you all for having me.
What's it like working in AEW?
So far it's been like so much like so much better than I could have ever imagined. Like I kind of have like sort of a little bit of a traumatized experience from past working with past companies. So anxiety was definitely there. Like especially like when I first like took a chance with Lucha Underground and everything. But oh my God, like from the very beginning. Throughout everything until now, it's just I am in complete awe with how much better and how much like stress free it is in comparison to all the other experiences.
Who inspired you in wrestling? And my last question is, what has been your highlight in your career?
Was that two questions or was that one?
Two questions.
Okay, tell me the first one more time.
Who inspired you to be in? Who inspired you? Yeah.
Who inspired me for wrestling? I'm the type of person that I don't really say like particular people inspire me, but like I think like a lot of particular things about people inspire me, or particular things that certain people achieve and have achieved in the past, or could be achieving now, or anything like that. Like certain things about different people, male or female, like inspire me. Definitely, I'm one that I appreciate passion. I'm a very, very passionate person.
Yeah.
So anyone that I see is really passionate or really passionate about something, definitely I feel inspires me. I would say when it comes to wrestling per se, I've always been an athlete since I was like 8 years old, and dip my feet in everything I could. But like for wrestling per se, like I was a fan of the characters and everything at that time. But what really, really pushed me and motivated me to be like, I want to be a pro wrestler. I want to do that. I want to delve into that. Was at that time when I saw like that surge of women's wrestling with Jazz, Molly Holly, Trish Stratus, Lita, all that era, especially towards when I saw them, like all those changes happening, at least little steps. But that first step was when I saw Lita and Trish main event on Raw, and like that was like a historic thing, like women, finally main eventing on TV. Like I'm like, yes, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that, and I want to be a pro wrestler, and I want to keep, like, that's what I want to do. I want to keep in that path for, women showing what they could do, showing that we are worthy of the same recognition and respect and credibility.
Yeah. And
So what was the second one again?
the second one was, what's your best highlight in your career?
My biggest highlight in my career. I mean, I would say would be like awesome moments like for an example, like in WWE, like when me and Paige like kicked off the NXT Women's Division, like the rebranded one now, like I would say that's a big highlight for like at that point in my like WWE time. With Lucha Underground, I feel like that time where we created that special momentum moment for the trios championship, and also like being like the first woman to run for the Lucha Underground championship as a whole.
Yeah.
With Fuertes, that those were big highlights for me in my time in Lucha Underground, and definitely now clearly with AEW highlight already, winning that tag team tournament. And I'm incredibly grateful for all of them, and just I look forward. Again, I'm passionate. I want to keep breaking barriers, or keep I want to keep on that path of putting women's wrestling where I feel it deserves. So I look forward to creating more of those moments.
Yeah, I was happy when you won the women's tournament as well.
Thank you.
That was brilliant. Have you wrestled?
Thanks,
Have you
Dan.
wrestled in the UK as well? Quickly.
Yes, I have.
Oh, awesome.
A long time ago, it was with WCPW. And last time I went, no, that was, man, 2020 has really scrambled my brain. Yes, I was there. I think it was Liverpool or something. It was with Fierce Females. I was there because we went from Scotland to somewhere in the UK. But yes, I've been there twice, and I love it. It's cool.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much for your time.
And I love
appreciate that.
that.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
You made my evening. Cheers for that. Thanks, Jacob.
Cheers.
Next, we will say hi to Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Ivelisse. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. I just want to say it's great, for aspiring writers like myself who want to try to break into the wrestling business. The way you interact with fans on Twitter, it's wonderful, and it, helps boost people up. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I really wholeheartedly appreciate your support, all of you.
So 2 quick questions. If you exclude the whole Bill DeMott situation, how did you feel about your time in WWE?
That is, there's not all bad in anything, but I would say I'm very grateful for working with a lot of great, the agents that were there, like Ricky Steamboat, Norman Smiley. I'll just kind of focus on the good part with like Ricky Steamboat, Norman Smiley, and just all of the other like great coaches and agents. I try to absorb as much as I can. I'm very cerebral when it comes to wrestling, so anything and everything, my ears are all open. So I really much enjoyed that part of learning as much as I possibly could from all of them. Just towards the end, it kind of really, the whole thing with DeMott, and towards the end, it really, really did a big, put a really big negative imprint. But yeah, those were definitely the good ones that I appreciate incredibly. And also, I did get the chance to work with Natalia. There were a few other girls that came down a few times. That also was pretty cool, pretty awesome. And my time was cut short pretty quickly because of the whole thing. But again, there's not all bad in anything. So I'm really grateful for the positives.
So my last question, if you got to book yourself for the main event for a big championship match, who would it be, past or present, that you would face?
That requires a lot of brain power. So I'll just stick to recent. So let's just say AEW Women's Championship. Right now, she is the champion. So let's go. Anytime, anywhere.
Hopefully that match happens soon.
Yes. Hopefully. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. So Ivelisse, quickly, I'm going to throw up a quick introduction. I'm going to hop off the screen, and our little buddy Steven's going to come on and ask you a couple questions.
Hi, Ivelisse. Thank you for doing this. It means a lot.
Hi there, Steve. How you doing?
How did it feel? How are you doing? I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
See, I haven't had time to start watching AEW, so I wanted to ask this. How did it feel like when you got your first call that you're signed with AEW?
I'm sorry, what?
How did it feel to know that you were signed with AEW after the call?
Well, actually, since you asked that, I haven't been able to officially confirm anywhere yet. But I can confirm to you that through right now, as I asked if it was okay. But I can confirm to you that yes, I am indeed signed to AEW. Yay! And honestly, that moment was very emotional for me, especially because throughout the last couple of years, oh my God, it's been really tough for me for many different reasons, including number one, the whole thing with Lucha Underground, where we were kept in our contracts and all of that. And once that was finally terminated, it took a while to kind of regain that momentum that was lost, and a combination of a lot of other things and personal issues and things like that. So it was kind of a really dark time. And then also nothing really came from the WWE tryout. So once this AEW opportunity came up, I was really, really happy. And once that moment came that I heard the words, I kind of got overwhelmed with emotion, especially because during that same week was when the fire happened for my house. So it was like I was literally at the end of my rope, so I got really emotional. It was kind of really hard for me to contain it, and I'm just incredibly happy. I honestly, I have no words to describe how happy I am just to feel something I haven't felt in a very long time, which is hope for the future, to feel valued, and also a sense of security as well.
Never give up, and I'm sorry you went through that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Very, very true words.
Having fought in intergender matches before, what is your opinion on them? Personally, I love watching women kick butt like China did. Like China was a good wrestler.
Okay. Can you repeat? Because you said that I've wrestled through injuries in matches. And what was the?
No, intergender matches.
Oh, intergender. Okay. Okay. So, what was my opinion of my intergender matches?
Yes.
I love doing intergender matches. I have very good chemistry with guys. I'm a girl, but I wrestle pretty much like a dude, so it's just a very easy chemistry that unfolds in the ring. And also there's a part, like the style of wrestling that I can do with men is not a style that I can do very often with women. So that's also like pretty cool. I just personally feel that, again, to each their own, but to me, I strive to make wrestling look and feel as realistic as possible. So I myself feel like intergender should cater to that. But that's me personally. Again, to each their own opinion, but that's just me. So that's what I always try to do when I'm in an intergender match.
I totally agree with you.
Thank you.
Being a female wrestler is tough, but how is women's wrestling changed from when you started, and where would you like to see women wrestling go in the future?
Oh, I would say it's miles and miles and miles away from when I first started. Pretty much like starting pretty much at a point where women were always looked at as just ballets, and then they would just be put in matches to kind of see a cat fight. Pretty much that's kind of how it was when I first started, and then kind of evolving more, but then still being being looked at as a popcorn break or bathroom break type of match or whatever, like a throwaway match. No, and then it has evolved a lot. I mean, I feel that we still have a lot to do when it comes to that transformation, but it's definitely miles and miles and miles away from when I first started 17 years ago. And I'm excited for that currently, and again, still excited to everything that's to come, and excited to contribute towards that.
Okay. Good. One more question. If
Yeah.
you could fight any wrestler in the world that's not signed with AEW, any women wrestler that's not signed with AEW, and who would it be and why?
I feel there's a lot of great is that female or male?
Female.
Female. I feel like me and Asuka or Io or Kyrie, that's something that I've really liked to happen.
And why?
And also Shida. I love Japanese wrestling, and it's something I haven't really gotten the chance to do. Yeah, that's pretty much. Unfortunately, yeah.
Thank you again for doing this. It means a lot to me.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Steven. Ivelisse, you touched up on it a few times, and I don't want to go too much into it because it's a negative experience, but what gave you the courage to stand up to a bully, pretty much?
That's actually kind of part of my DNA. And it's something that always can get very easily turned around. I've always been the type of person that I just don't hate. I don't like, it's very hard for me to keep my mouth shut when I feel someone's demeaning me or disrespecting me or whatever, which is kind of contributes towards what I always talk about, that I hate politics. I believe in 100% professionalism from everyone equally. I don't like when people abuse their power to stomp on others and things like that, and it's really hard for me to just kind of not stand up to that. And it's not just for myself. It's really hard for me to not stand up for myself against that, but it's also really hard for me to not stand up for others as well. It's just kind of part of my DNA, and it's sometimes it's like I do it out of the nature, and then in my mind is like, well, whatever comes from that, may it come. I just have a clear conscience that I did the right thing. So
we try to run a positive wrestling space here, and I just know a lot of, or I should say a lot, hopefully not a lot, but I know a few people could definitely hear that. So I'm glad you let them hear it, and we'll move on. We have, I believe, Brian. Brian, what's up, brother?
Oh, hey. So first of all, I'm very excited to hear that you officially signed with AEW. I'd actually assumed you were signed, and a few weeks ago when I heard you weren't, I was pretty salty, making a list of people that they'd signed to. I was like, how'd they sign them if she didn't get a contract yet? So I'm happy that everything's right with the world and you have the contract you deserve.
thank you.
So I have a couple questions. First of all, there was, of course, recently the Thunder Rosa match, and there was a lot made of it at least among internet wrestling nerds. And it seems like you weren't quite yourself, and it seems like from following your career, sometimes you do when you're in a bad mood, it comes across sometimes in your matches, maybe. And I was just wondering what was going on in your head going.
I actually kind of expected this question to come up at some point. I've made it a point to try as much as possible to not respond ever since the whole thing came up or whatever throughout this whole time. I really won't comment much about it, but I will state obvious facts that kind of answer themselves according to it. When it comes to pro wrestling, I'm obviously the vet within the equation, so that pretty much should say a whole lot. Anyone who knows anything about pro wrestling can kind of put two and two together, like, you know, with the simple fact of me being the vet within the equation. And also with the fact that I'm the type that I don't take people trying to disrespect me. And so just with those facts, so with just those facts, it's kind of self-explanatory how things,
Okay.
anything that has to do with that topic.
Yeah, and can I ask one more question? And that's just, I've been very happy with the AEW women's division, except for, of course, there shouldn't be a rule that there can only be one women's match per show. But besides that, I'm curious. When it started, I know Kenny was said to be in charge of what goes on the booking of the women's division, and then it felt like maybe Brandy was in charge. And I'm just kind of curious about backstage now. Who may
Was it really echoing there?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, because the
Brian, I
sound
don't know
went
what's going on
right.
with your mic. I'm gonna remove him and bring him back if it works. In the meantime, we will go to Hector. We will not go to Hector because he just left. So we'll go to Giovanni.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Hello, what is?
So, Ivelisse got a special kind of experience that we can touch on. How was it between Indies and Puerto Rico?
See, that's a cut. Do you hear the cutoff a little bit?
But I think Giovanni asked, what is the difference between wrestling in Puerto Rico and Indies in the States?
The difference. Well, I mean, wrestling in Puerto Rico is a whole experience of its own. It's very unique. I mean, I feel like wrestling can be very unique in many different parts of the world. But when it comes to Puerto Rico, it's very unique in the sense that there's certain ways that the fans interact with the action going on and the characters, you know, the wrestlers. Very musical. They use instruments. I've said this in a couple of other interviews before, but in Puerto Rico, they use instruments and they go along with the action, especially when they're very into the match, into the comeback. They'll also say certain words in accordance to the momentum that's happening in the comeback. Like when a person starts punching back, like they go along with the rhythm of the action and they'll be like, hua, 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 and then they'll start doing some music with some instruments and like these horn things and stuff like that. That is like the biggest difference, that not just in Indies in the States, but pretty much everywhere else in the world, or at least everywhere in the world that I've wrestled in. But yeah, that's the big difference. And they're very passionate too. They'll get really into the drama.
All right, that was all for me. Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
Thank you, Giovanni. And we got two more before we wrap up. We will say hi to Isaac.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? Hello.
Huge fan.
Thank you.
Love the Lucha Underground stuff.
Thank you.
When you won the trios champion with the busted leg, that match was like it's maybe top 10 for me, especially Angelico flying. But what was the creative process like at Lucha Underground? Because I feel like everybody was made to look good, even while losing, and nobody ever got buried or made to look like shit.
The creative process in Lucha Underground, it had some wiggle room. with us, like in terms like they would ask us every now and then, like, oh, you know, you want to do you want to how do you want to deliver this line, or oh, I would rather deliver this line this way or that way, or things like that. And it also was the same for in-ring stuff as well. I mean, I myself personally, I feel like a lot of things kind of got in the way in the beginning towards like how I felt I would have liked to be presented, but throughout the seasons, and of course the injuries as well didn't help. But once all that like settled and everything, I felt like I was getting a lot more on page with creative, and it showed a lot more. Like I was a lot more comfortable in my skin when it came to delivering the promos, or when it came to in-ring stuff as well. Yeah.
Yeah, even the match with Mil Muertes for the championship. It was just awesome to see, and it was like a really cool progression.
Yes, thank you. He was actually a pleasure to work. He was like, that match was very easy to put together, and it just flowed awesomely. And
yeah, I love all the in-ring work from pretty much everything there, but I especially love your stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Isaac. And we got one more for the night for you, Ivelisse. Dennis, how are you?
Tired. I just got home from work a little while ago. So.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. So, a couple quick questions. Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers, and I wanted to get your opinion on what it was like working with him when you were on Tough Enough.
It was awesome. I mean, like, for me personally, I was a huge fan. Like growing up, and first wrestling and everything. I was a huge fan. My number one thing was every time I was around him or I had to interact with him or anything like that, I always was like, all right, be cool. Because in my mind, I didn't want to like be like, like super
marking out.
Yeah, I'm like, be cool. You believe, be cool. And I even remember that there was a picture of us, like from the Tough Enough thing or whatever. There was a picture where he's like, being Stone Cold Steve Austin with his hands like that, staring down at me, But that's that was the whole point too of like what they had to do. They had to intimidate us, see if you're tough enough and this and that. So like there was that picture of him like staring me down, and then I guess I kind of mirrored like like his stance or whatever. I'm like, all right, please be cool, be cool. Like both. Like in the sense of like you gotta look, it's tough enough. They want to see if you're tough, but also on the side of like be cool, be cool. Don't show, like keep it professional, keep cool, be cool.
And then my other question is who is your favorite person to work with in Lucha Underground?
My favorite person to work with in Lucha Underground. See, a lot of the work that I did was trios, so I didn't really get to do a lot of singles matches, which I really wanted to. And again, and in Lucha Underground, unfortunately, since they didn't want to do a women's title, we as women were kind of perpetually stuck as the underdog type of scenario. The one who actually had the chance to like go full blown like equal and like get a run was Sexy Star.
Right.
But the few singles matches that I had, I really enjoyed, but the one that most sticks out to me is the one that I had for the Gift of the Gods Championship versus El Dragón Azteca Jr.
Oh wow, that was very good. Well, thank you so much for your time. Congrats on the AEW contract, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of your work there.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Ivelisse, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And besides for Tuesday nights and Wednesday night on AEW programming, where can everybody else find you?
You can find me on the two social media platforms that I'm most often on, which is Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter handle is at Real Ivelisse, and my IG is at Ivelisse Velez. And thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.